Live. And we are live. Monday nights here at the Integrated Man. Welcome, man. Welcome. I'm here with Lorenzo Murolo. Say hello, Lorenzo.
Gentlemen, how are you?
And Lorenzo, I started timing this off screen, but we got sidetracked. I found this book. And it's one of those little books that you see in Barnes and Noble when you're walking out. And I don't remember if I bought it just as a, hey, that's a good idea. Be happy. Grab the book. One of those days you're like, yeah, that's a good idea. Be happy. Or
Not that hard, right?
I don't know if it was one of those grabs or it came at a birthday present as an add-on or in a stocking gift. I don't know where I got it, but a few weeks ago, I started reading like 4 or 5 little things just to kind of put it out there, right? So they're just little, they're just little things like this. It's one of those books. So be happy. How do we do that, right? A little book to help you live a happy life. Dance. Dance. I love dancing. Pamper yourself.
Self-care is important.
Face your fears. Go to a museum. Interesting. And the last one, love this one. Any decision is better than no decision. Oh my God. Oh my God. That's like a great segue into leadership too. And that's kind of what's happened. And I don't plan this out. I don't read ahead. I just read them as they come. And yeah, but yeah, making a decision is for me, that's one of the key things about leadership. Not to kind of jumpstart the conversation, but why not? I mean, they don't even know who the heck you are yet. Some of them might not even know who I am yet. But let's get into the conversation a little bit. Making a decision for me is when I'm a leader. That's for me the responsibility that I feel. Boy, I got to make this decision. There's a lot riding on this decision. And yeah, you can take input from a whole bunch of sources and all of that, right? How you do it, consider everyone's input, But at the end of the day, is the leader, not a leader, but the leader. I'm making the decision if I'm the leader. Right? Everyone is looking at the leader to make the decision.
That's right. I mean, that can come with a lot of pressure as well. Definitely a lot of emotion that can pop up with that, right? I mean, there's a workforce out there that is looking up to you, right? As a mentor, as someone that knows the answers. But what I've experienced through my years is just being able to be vulnerable and to show folks that you're human as well. You take your experiences, you essentially make the best choices that you can, knowing that sometimes it's not the right one. But the beautiful thing about it is, without asserting yourself, without making those decisions, even if they were wrong, it's still an experience to learn from, which is okay.
Hopefully.
This way, when we're in the corporate environment, my environment, I'm not saving lives. Right? What is the worst that is going to happen? But again, it's all about the experience. No one knows. No one was born with all the answers, right? It's accumulated over time. It's accumulated through experiences, and I'm very grateful and humble to have had the opportunity to be put into situations where, I was able to do that. And the funny thing though is, I'll share very, very quickly with you, Frank, right, is, as I was kind of going through the ranks within my leadership, I actually applied for this job that was a 2-level jump for me. I don't know how many years ago. And me and my, stance, I was confident. I'm like, I know this stuff, right? I'm a shoo-in. I've got this, right? So the day of decision came, I was not selected for the position. I was completely dumbfounded. And the mentor that I was with, said to me, he's like, "You want to know why you didn't get the job?" I was like, "Why?" He's like, "You haven't screwed up enough." That was his advice to me. He's like, "You haven't screwed up." Essentially, it was a pivoting back to just didn't have the opportunity to have the enough experience to screw up enough. And I took that with me, and I really appreciated it. Right? Could I have done it? Absolutely, but that was the way it was meant to be, and I was okay with it.
Yeah, that reminds me. Last week, Chris Estevez was, my first guest, and we had a big part of the conversation. I think was, the ascension to wisdom, right? Because here we're both gray hairs, and with the gray hairs, you get wisdom,
Yep.
and people, when someone's think about it when you're young and some old guy's giving you information or whatever, like, he thinks he's so smart. It's like, no, he doesn't think he's so smart. He's fucked up enough.
Absolutely,
He's
man,
up,
absolutely.
dude. He can like, no, okay, yeah, you'll find out. That's it. Right. And I was talking about how uh, wisdom comes from experience.
Mhm.
And experience comes from fucking up.
Yeah.
So to get to that place of just having experience,
Mhm.
you have to fail a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. And it kind of anchors back to what you were mentioning before. You were talking about fear, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes people just don't take those risks. They don't put themselves out there. They don't try. They don't, they're afraid of that failure. They're afraid of even success at times, right? People just have fear, but breaking through that fear allows you to continue to elevate yourself, which I think is fantastic. And that's something I personally have been, you know, taking with me through my entire life is continuously breaking through that barrier of fear, because on the other side is my purpose, is my passion, is things that are going to help elevate me. So, I truly embrace the fear, because that is that fight or flight that's saying, no, no, you're safe over here. Mm-mm. I want to go over there because there's something exciting over there and I'm going to grow over there.
Right, right. So I'm writing these things down. I definitely want to come back to them, but before we go too far, um, just let the men know, who's listening or may listen to this in the future. Who the heck is Lorenzo Murolo?
Great question. All right. So, Murolo, from a professional perspective, I've actually been with a company called Accenture for about 21 years now. It is a global professional services company. They do a wide range of services from consulting, technology, digital, and operations. My entire life has really all been within the operation space where we're delivering services on behalf of our client. Majority of my time has been spent in supply chain operations, but what I've got to learn through my experience is I was able to take things that I've learned in my career and start to apply to different industries as well. From a personal perspective, Lorenzo is a father and a husband as well. I'm blessed with a blended family. I've got 3 children of my own, and my wife has 2. And we're ranging from the ages of what we have. We have 15, 17, 19, 21, and 29, right? So we've got 4 living with us, 2 in college, dogs upstairs, just love it all. Love it all.
God, it sounds like you're managing the chaos.
Imagine the chaos or just going with the flow. One of those 2.
Oh, guys. And that's, there's different ways to deal with it. And managing the chaos and go with the flow. I know you're not super well versed in the archetypes, but that's the magician archetype.
Mm-hmm.
That's the magician archetype where the king archetype is present. There's an absence of chaos. The magician's very comfortable
Mm-hmm.
operating chaos. Matter of fact, we thrive.
Mm.
There's chaos coming in because as a magician, if you're a true magician, you're able to, and it's great. I love this leadership type of role, right? Because you can come into this super chaotic, situation, and like you're just able to see all the parts.
Mm.
Everyone else is like frantic, because there's no order to it, And then there's the king energy. When the king is present, the chaos just stops. There is, So there's just two different energies to kind of come at that with. When you said go with the flow, that's like that definitely more of the king lover energy. Anyway, I'm turning this into archetype. We're really talking about leadership. I always like to dangle it out there every time. So that sounds great, man. You look great.
Thank you.
You look great. You just got back from a little vacation, right? You want to? We haven't talked about that. You want to?
No, it was absolutely fantastic. So my wife and I took a week and we had a retreat in Peru, Cusco, Peru, and this was not a retreat in which we were just going out exploring, but we were both doing a lot of work on ourselves in terms of a wellness retreat, right? What better way to spend a new year in terms of really diving in and bringing in some holistic practices, right? I know when it comes down to it's men sometimes, right? They don't, they're scared to be vulnerable sometimes and to surrender to different things such as what do you got there?
It's the book, Pamper Yourself, right?
Pamper yourself, right? Doing things such as breath work, such as meditation, journaling, hiking in the Amazon jungle, which was fantastic. And it was definitely very transformational. So we got to experience some amazing people, amazing culture, great food out there. The land was absolutely beautiful. And we really just got to disconnect. It was even better that they actually lost our luggage for 4 freaking days. So I got to wear the same clothes. So talking about rugging it in the jungle, discovering yourself in the same clothes you're wearing. It was very humbling, but honestly, it was fantastic. We both had an amazing time. Came back super refreshed, super energy, a lot of energy, and just ready to start to conquer, our lives.
Beautiful, beautiful. That's yeah, man. You have, from what I see, I mean, we know each other, a little over a year, I guess, a year and a half or so now.
Yeah, maybe 2 plus or so, yeah.
And we haven't seen each other, like we haven't hung out with each other in way too long.
Absolutely.
The whole busyness of life, but we've maintained, I believe, we've able to maintain and keep this connection going and this friendship going. When we talk, it's like, for me, it hasn't missed a beat. Don't feel disconnected. It's like, you're someone that I find it very easy to connect with. Always have since the first time I met you. And from what I observed, how you live your life and how you strive to learn. I'm not even gonna say better yourself, right? Just learn.
Learn's a good. It's a great word, Frank. Right? Because there's a saying that I really believe in is it's the phrase if you're not growing, you're dying. Right? What is our purpose on this earth? Our purpose on this earth is to have experiences. It's to continue to learn and grow. And again, I'm the real of the mindset. No matter how old I get, there's always something I'm going to want to learn.
So this book.
Many Masters. All right. Many Masters. I haven't read that one. No.
Okay. By Brian Weiss. This book changed my life. changed my life. Read it in a day and a half. Read it in a day and a half, and uh, it's a great story, I think. And the big takeaway that I got from it was we are, and talked about this book a little before, but Brian is a psychologist, psychiatrist, brain chemistry specialist.
Mm-hmm.
5 or 6 books, maybe more by now. I don't know. But started doing therapy on this woman that was passed off to him by a colleague. Didn't seek it out. And through that, he was exposed to the masters through a hypnotic regression on the woman. Go back to see where these traumas came from. Apparently, she slipped into past lives, which he wasn't familiar with. He wasn't trying to induce that. He was just trying to get to repressed memories through hypnosis. And then somewhere in between in the hypnotic state, she would deliver messages to him, but it wasn't her. I know that sounds all woo-woo. I know it. And it sounded woo to him as well. And this guy's a stone cold scientist. He's not even a therapist, doesn't do therapy. This was a colleague coming to him and said, Brian, I don't know what to do. Right? And he took a shot. And this all comes out. And the masters gave the lesson. And they also proved themselves to him that it wasn't bullshit. And he said, because he said, prove it. So I said, your son was your son that died was born with the heart of a chicken, and his wife had a miscarriage. It might have even been before they were married, or just soon after they were married. And it was so prior to this experience that very few people in their circle even knew about it. It's not where they live now. It was, so they didn't, hey, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, 10 years ago, we had a miscarriage, or the baby was born and the baby had the heart's valves were reversed. Apparently that's how a chicken's is. And they live for a day or two and then expire. They never talked about it. So I had this person, this cleaning lady that was referred to him, know about it. Like, it was just, so that's what really made him pay attention. And the masters, as he coined them, said that we are here, human beings are here, or our spirits come to this form to learn lessons.
Absolutely.
That's it. Learn lessons.
That's it.
Soul level, right? So that transformed my life, because when things don't go right, whatever that means, my first question is, what's the lesson? My first thought, what's the lesson? Someone dies, what's the lesson? Someone gets sick, what's the lesson? You're fired from a job, what's the lesson? It's just by default now. That's my first, and it makes it, for me, that perspective is helps me not get caught in the, oh shit, what am I gonna do now? You still got to do that, but I don't get caught up in that. What I'm caught up in is, what's the lesson? What's the lesson? What's the lesson? I'm not going through this because I'm a bad person. This didn't happen to me because some karmic event, maybe I think I'm going to go there, but it's just, what's the lesson? I need to learn.
Yeah, and even bad things that would happen, right? I mean, it helps reinforce your resilience as well. Again, I'm right there with you, right? I mean, I consider anything that happens in my life, good or bad, something there for a lesson, right? Anything that is good is happening in my life, I'm just not going to simply accept it, but I'm going to have gratitude for it, for the good things, right? I'm truly going to sit with that gratitude. If something bad happens, okay, why? How can I use this to continue to make myself better? And how do I learn from these experiences? And how do I apply them moving forward? Now, when we get into situations where patterns occur and the same shit happens over and over and over again, I mean, it's happening over and over because you haven't learned your lesson, right? You didn't learn the lesson. It's back again.
Yep.
So if folks find themselves in those repeat patterns, in those repeat, headspaces, it's there for a reason. It's showing you what needs to be worked on, and acknowledging it, surrendering to it, and being humble through that experience does so much.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm just responding to a couple of men in the chat. Got it on my phone, so hopefully I'll be able to see that.
Cool.
So I asked you to come on because you were saying I admire how from what I see, how you live your life, always striving to be better. Um, and when I think of a leader, that's what I think of. Someone that strives to be better, that's willing to take responsibility for who they are and what they do. And it doesn't have to be, and I listen to my words very carefully, man. I'm not talking about a corporate leader. I'm not talking about the leader. I'm talking about a leader. Right? That's a big distinction. We made that distinction last week a lot. So being able to improve yourself, learn from your mistakes,
Hmm.
um, accept failure, strive for excellence. All these things are, to me, leadership characteristics.
100%, right? I mean, to your point, it doesn't need to be in a corporate environment. What I see is that, as I continue to pivot my mindset and to continue to seek more in terms of bettering myself and learning more, and sharing my learnings, right? Just because it's just been such an amazing experience. What I've realized is that, unknowingly, I'm someone inspiring others around them to face their fears, to be able to achieve their goals, and for them to really dive in and start to be the best versions of themselves. And that's all I ask, right? I feel that truly from an energy perspective. Once you start to put that energy out there, people start to pick up on it, and they start to shift their energy as well. And next thing you know, it's just this infectious thing around you where you've got these people that are just out there thinking a little bit differently, and just really, again, to your point, it's from a leadership perspective, it's setting that example. It's not about leading them, but it's just about setting an example.
I'm so tempted to go down the rabbit hole because you said my magic word.
Which one?
Energy.
Energy, yes.
Energy.
It's real.
That
Oh, you get ready. You're ready to go in this.
this is my world. This is my world to examine. See, I see everything from the perspective of energy.
Uh-huh.
I really do. It's lucky that way, I guess.
No, it's good to have awareness around it, right? And the reason it's good, Frank, is because there are others that are energy drainers, energy vampires, right? So you've got folks that are around you, whether it be at work or even people in your own family that, are not in the same space, are not elevate, are not vibrating at a higher level than you, right? They may be at that lower energy level, and they're trying to suck your energy out. So protecting your energy is definitely important. And sometimes, again, there may be folks, as you start to create more awareness around this, as you start to find your purpose, as you start to live your authentic self, your authentic life. Sometimes it's sad to say, but some of those people that have been around you for quite some time may not like that new version of you and will end up going a different way. And you want to know what? That's okay sometimes. It's hard, but it is okay.
Yeah. Oh, it's gonna happen.
Yeah,
It's
and it has. And mind you, sometimes things hurt, but everything happened for a reason because yeah, I am living my authentic life.
listen, it's if you want to get butt hurt or someone that and it can happen to you too, right? Just like I've lost friends or people that I was close to that we just drifted apart.
Hmm.
Oh, and if they ascended and I've stayed here, maybe it's not always me moving. Oh, it's
No,
so egotistical, right? So it happened. It
no,
just happened.
100%
There's,
not.
oh, I just want to minimize what not. I just want to rationalize it. Just how I look. It's an old the saying that we always see posted on Facebook 1,000 times or Twitter or Instagram, right? That you have people for a reason, a
Hmm.
season, or a lifetime.
Yeah.
Some people that come into your life and it just
Mm.
it doesn't mean because they're not in your life a long time, they're not impactful. My teacher, one of my teachers, Tony, my Reiki master, taught me a lot about energy at the beginning. Um, he was a Madawan police officer. He owned a business that was the fitness guru, holistic health studio,
Hmm.
personal training, Reiki, massage, classes, and he was also, I believe, he was special forces or recon in the army. So a real dichotomy between personalities: this healer, great healer, and energy work, and a killer. Right? Yeah, yeah. So it's really that yin yang. And before he really, truly, before he got into all the energy work, but he was still ascending himself. He used to run. He ran a lot. He ran a few marathons, and he ran. And he was um, there was this homeless guy that he would run by every day when he did his run. He'd go by this homeless guy, and then one day he ran by the homeless guy. And as he runs by, the homeless guy shouts at him, "Hey, what are you running from?" Fucked him up. It changed his life because he couldn't get that question out of his head.
Yeah, yeah.
Couldn't get that question out of his head. It's a total stranger. It changed his life with a question.
Hmm.
What I love about the magician energy is the archetype is that the magician lives in the question. I think it's so powerful. I think right question at the right time will just ring like a bell in your head until it's answered.
Yeah. No,
So
it's those the asking those powerful questions really really can change lives. Like I'll share with you. There was one time I was on the before I was married with my wife. We were dating at the time. We were on the couch just having a good conversation, and she asked me a question, and she said, "Lorenzo," she's like, "What's your purpose?"
who asked you this?
My wife, we're dating at the time. She's like, "What's your purpose? What's your purpose?"
Uh,
I was like, "Well, I'm a dad, and my purpose is to take care of my children." She said, "No, that's a role. What is your purpose?" It's like, fuck, I couldn't answer the question. But that allowed me to start to go deeper inside myself, to start to do more self-reflection, to go inward, to start to really dive into that question. So I definitely would challenge anyone out there to answer that question for yourself. What is your purpose? Because that is another powerful question.
oh,
We're
another rabbit hole. We gotta stop.
going with somewhere else besides leadership, but honestly,
Well,
this
no,
is
no, well, it is.
into a little bit.
I bring this around to leadership. Um, Purpose is such a deep. It's so important for men. It's so important for men, particularly. Not that women don't live purposeful lives and don't get the purpose, but for men particularly, um, we're rooted in purpose,
Mm,
and I believe that we substitute other things for our real purpose. I know this to be true. I've
Mhm,
been doing this work way too long.
mhm,
Right? And the evolution is we go to high school and people say, well, what are you going to do? You know, what are you going to do after high school? I don't say, what are you going to be after high school? What are you going to do?
mhm.
You going to do after college? You go to college, right? It's like an expectation almost. Not everyone, but in general, it's like, are you going to continue this education? And what are you going to, and then it's whether it's after high school or after college, the question is, what are you going to do? Not who are you going to be? What are you going to
Mhm.
do? So we get into this action mode, that's goal oriented. Our actions should have purposes to it. Should have goals.
Mhm.
It's not a purpose.
No, it's not.
It's a goal, right? And when you reach the goal, we substitute that goal with purpose, or the achievement of that goal is purpose.
Mhm.
It's fine, but it's temporary, and then you continually have to, replace one purpose with the next and live a purpose.
I don't believe that there's one purpose, right? I think purpose is organic, it evolves, there are multiple purposes.
Well,
Uh,
you can live a purposeful life that way.
mhm.
Living your purpose. Um, I don't believe you are. I believe that we all, you can do that. And that's one way of being purposeful and fulfilling that purpose for a man. But does that justify the workaholic? Right? That he's like, that's his job. That kind of attitude. Like I'm doing what's expected of me. I'm doing
Mhm.
this. I'm working this hard so that I can provide for my family.
Mhm.
But it's at the sacrifice of who I am as a man. So,
Yeah, no,
so
I mean, what I do from even anchoring back from a leadership perspective, right, is I really feel it's important to have you know some really high level of emotional intelligence when working with people, with connecting with people as well, and being able to create a space for these individuals to have conversations like this, right? To not that they just come in, work their 9 to 5, do their job, do it well, but actually connecting and understanding them and what drives them, what motivates them, what brings them joy. Connecting with people at that level, understanding from a truly human perspective, right? Bringing it back to being just truly human, um, brings out the best of people as well. So me being able to do the introspective work on myself created more awareness around how important it is and to be able to share that from a leadership perspective.
absolutely, that connection that you can create with your people, make them feel valued,
Hmm.
and
Make
once
them feel accomplishments.
people feel valued, they're more loyal. They're more loyal, and that loyalty creates trust, and you get stuff done better with trust and
Hmm.
group of people. So,
Yeah, and the one thing I can share is that being genuine is also super important. Right? I've had plenty of leaders in my career where there was just this false mask, right? That you can tell that it wasn't there, but people see through all that. But coming in genuine, being truly human, connecting with folks, understanding what their fears are, what their anxieties are, what brings them joy, how they operate, and how you can help be a mentor for them and a coach to bring the best out of them, right? It's as a leader, it's not about telling them how to do their job, right? It's not about um, you know it's really all around the coaching, right? To be able to coach them to the extent where they start to have self-realization of their worth, of their contributions, and just how amazing that they are as individuals, right? They have unique skills. They are individual people. They bring their own unique skills, and showing them how to really tap into it and bring it out fully. It's a beautiful thing to watch, and I love that any engagement that I've been on, I've been on several so far. I still have great connections with these individuals. They still check in with me. I still check in with them. Because again, you come across these people in your lives, and these are folks that you want to keep in your lives, right? Because they play such a significant role. And honestly, a lot of the folks that I've even interacted with myself have told me a lot about myself, right? How I interact with folks allowed me to reflect how I'm operating as well, and how I'm doing, and how I can make changes to be better as well. It's definitely a collaboration when it comes down to it.
Absolutely. And that's what I and everything you said, I'm listening to it. It's definitely that leader of a team.
Mhm.
Now that's the dynamic that I'm hearing in what you're saying. So inside of that, you really it seems like that's a team of people, team of individuals, or I'll say even better, a group of individuals that you as a leader form into it. Correct me if I'm is this
Yeah, I
accurate?
mean, it's that, as well as honestly, I'm training future leaders, right? I'm showing them, you know, how from my lessons to really show up for their staff as well.
But let me complete this thought because I know I fucked it up. But
Yeah.
so do you? It sounds like you're describing a situation. You have a group of individuals, and you being that type of leader that is able to connect, you're able to form a form a team inside of that.
Form a team, and Frank, I create a safe space for them. That's the most important thing, is creating a safe space for them, because I've had plenty of times where, you know, we'll go back so many years ago. I don't know. We'll go back 15 years ago, right? The Lorenzo 15 years ago is not the Lorenzo you're seeing in front of you right now. I'm actually a little embarrassed of the Lorenzo from 15 years ago, right? Because it wasn't the best version of me, right? And the way that I've interacted with folks, you know what, didn't compliment me, right? It's, I wasn't the most motivating, and maybe the most empathetic when I was dealing with stuff, right?
An example.
You said, for example?
Give us an example. That one you just.
An example. Oh, geez. I mean, listen, I mean, so even when it comes down to something not getting done and me just putting guilt on someone, right?
Tell a story. Tell your
It's just,
story. I know you got a story. Tell a story.
I don't know how many stories are there, man. You're making me go down a path that I don't want to go down no more. uh, no, but I mean, in all seriousness, I mean, there's
Listen, the reason why I'm asking, seriously,
yeah.
the reason why I'm asking is because there's men out there that are going to listen to this that you're like, oh shit, yes, I just did that today.
Yeah,
Or
listen, I mean, one thing I can say.
they're going to be like, wow, this fucking guy was me. It's me.
So one thing I'll share is just how you're interacting with folks. So let me just use this as an example. Is how you're speaking, what words you're using, what tone you're using as well, right? Because one of the things that's super important is your words are very powerful, and they can hurt, and it can make an impact on someone very negatively. So if I'm upset with someone and I get upset and I raise a voice here or there, that is not good. That is not making a point. That is not showing your assertiveness. That is not showing that you're the boss. What's going on emotionally to the person now receiving you, right? There's a book out there that I always anchor back to from a leadership perspective. That any leader that I'm coaching or working with, I always recommend that they read it. It's the Four Agreements, right? So Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. And the great thing about this, Frank, is in my office, I literally had the Four Agreements posted on my wall. And very quickly, I'll run through them, right? The first one is don't take anything personally, right? Sometimes we get stuck in our own heads. What do they mean? This and that, right? It was just feedback. It's okay. Don't take it personally. The second one is don't make assumptions, right? You start getting heady with all the stuff. Okay, well, what do they mean by this? What do they mean by that, right? The third one is always do your best. If you show up and do your best, it's all anyone can ask. And the fourth one, which is going to round this out to our topic here, is be impeccable with your words. Your words are very powerful. So I used to have folks coming into my office complaining about this and this and that and this and that. So I'd sit there and I'd listen, and then I'd point to the wall. It's like, so someone said something to you, and did you take it personally? Oh, but they're probably doing this. So it sounds like you made an assumption right there. So you deliver what you did. Did you do your very best? Yes. Okay. What's the problem then? Right. And then they would leave with a little bit more clarity. But again, always anchoring back to be impeccable with your words. Right. I can sit there and I can bust your balls, Frank, right? And you can sit there and laugh at me. I can sit there and bust someone else's balls and they'll probably be in tears. Right. So being conscious about your words, being conscious about how you interact with people, checking in with yourself and your emotions before you start to project that back at them, right? Projecting can be a big friggin' thing. It's definitely come back to me several times, kicked me in the ass. So having that level of awareness is pivotal when it comes down to leadership, and having that emotional intelligence is super important.
Yeah, it's two things that hit me when you talk about that. And that's a great little book, and it is a little book.
It is. It's great. Yeah.
Read. I've read it a couple of times over the years, and it's one of those books that I very rarely I haven't read it from cover to cover, but once I think like the first time, but I pick it up and I'll read 5, 10 pages of a chapter,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean I pick it up for a couple of weeks. I pick it up again. So it's a great book for men like that for sure. Because
Yeah, absolutely pivotal for leadership. I feel it's definitely a highly recommended book.
and there was two things, especially with I've heard the last agreement get misconstrued, especially among men. I'd be impeccable with your word,
Mm,
plural, right? And that's one of the things is men integrity, right? A word is a
mm,
bond, all
okay.
that. But that's not what that book is about. But
Correct.
the agreement is impeccable with your words.
Mm-hmm.
And I know for me, I'm very particular when I'm communicating what my phraseology. You know, um, and again, I always try to roll this back into I roll not always try, but I attach it to the archetype somehow. The archetypes come from a certain energy, right? And an energy, when you're in that energy, the energies form certain metaphors or phrases. You speak from that energy, all right? So that you can tell you can tell where someone's coming from, what
Mm,
energy they're coming from, what archetype they're coming from through the words that they use.
yeah.
So yeah, that's so I'm always very careful with how I choose to phrase. I shouldn't say always, most of the time. Right? There's nothing as perfect, but usually pretty good with how I phrase things to the detriment because I'll pause waiting for the exact word that I want you to use. you know. Um, but it works for me. I don't know. Might drive some people nuts.
Yeah.
Uh, we got a couple of people here on the board. Justin Littleton. Yeah, he just wrote down those 4 agreements. The 4 agreements on he talked about men are being biologically born to provide and protect. Oh, here's his question. Do you meet selfish? Do you meet selfish and selfless leaders? Is one better for a certain situation? Selfish and selfless.
Selfish is never good. I can tell you that. The one thing I can share from a leadership perspective is um, there's nothing wrong with a little bit of shameless self promotion, right? When it comes down to leadership perspective, as you start to do more, as you start to kind of go through the corporate environment, no one's going to know your story better than you. And being able to share the goodness that you've been doing is there's nothing wrong with that, right? It's not about showboating, it's not about showcasing, right? It's about sharing really what you're doing, right? Because when you're at certain leadership levels, who knows what you're doing, right? What are the results that are happening, right? You get some great results by seeing your metrics, by seeing performance, by seeing cost savings and stuff like that. But there's nothing wrong with sharing with other leaders um, how you've gotten there and the journey, because honestly, it is something to be proud of. Again, it's not about showboating, but it's also about reflecting back and taking pride on what you're doing. It's okay to reward yourself sometimes as well. Um, but again, my perspective, it's I'm more along the lines of being of service, right? As a leader, I'm a provider. I'm providing a service to my team, right? I'm just not watching them, move the widgets through the process, right? I am helping them discover themselves. I'm helping them be the best versions of them and to continue to elevate themselves, right? People can do a process, they can push a button, they can use Excel and create PowerPoints and stuff like that. That's their job. They do it well. You're not going to tell them how to do their job and do it well. They know how to do their job. As a leader, it's about supporting them to continue to be better. Now, mind you, there are some folks out there that just want to come in and do their job and do it well. That's okay. Not everyone wants to, explore more, do more. Some folks are content. And we need to be able to acknowledge that and come to this radical acceptance that, okay, you stay here. It is not your generation yet to be able to do more, right? Not everyone is going to be created equal.
Got it. So when you say be better, are I know you're going to answer this, but are you saying be better at your job?
Nope.
It's more of
Continuing to be able to.
Lorenzo, I think I'd be better if I took a nap, probably about 2 o'clock. I can't do that meeting because, in part of my self betterment, I take a nap at 2 o'clock and then do a 20-minute meditation. So can we push that meeting back to 3?
I don't know if it quite works like that, Frank.
Usually, about 3 o'clock, I'm just about finished with my espresso. That kind of brings me out of that meditative state. I'm ready to kick ass the rest of the day until 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah, no, this is around. Um, it's a personal journey, and if individuals are seeking to again, continue to grow, if they truly want to embrace growing personally, professionally, part of my job as a leader is to be able to be there to assist them to do that.
Okay.
That's just what it comes down to. And again, there are folks that just don't want to, and that's okay. We need them. You want to push a button? Push a button.
And there's also a lot of leaders out there that don't lead the way
Mhm.
leading, right?
Correct.
It's more, I mean, I've run into more leaders that will try to comply you into greatness. Yeah, if that's a way to say it. You have to do this. You have to show up and do this. Rather than, I mean, your methodology is more what I would imply is like, well, how do I draw this out of them?
Mhm.
I would draw that greatness out of them rather than make them be great at
Mhm.
this. I need them to be great at.
Correct. Correct. And the one thing that can really cripple it is if anyone is setting expectations. So if you have an expectation of your employee that you expect them to be a certain way, no. You have to understand what what their capabilities are. Are they capable of wanting to grow? Are they capable of wanting to do more? Right? You cannot force anyone to do more or to be more. If they seek that as a leader, you're there to support them. But if they don't, it's not our job to force them.
Well, one of my favorite quotes, I put this in the group just a little while back, maybe last week, John Quincy Adams.
Mm,
Your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more.
yeah.
You are a leader.
Yes. Absolutely. It's a great quote.
So, and I think you're living into that when you're a leader. That's part of
Mhm.
what your actions aspire.
Set the example. You set the example. Absolutely, Frank.
Well, no, it's not even. Yes, you can set the example by doing that, or you can have conversations with them like, yeah, that's an action. That's an action you're taking as a leader to inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more.
Mhm.
Right? And if
Yep.
that's all you did with those actions, then you're a leader. Yeah, so it's just kind of, and yeah, I think you could look at that quote and say, well, that's a um, what do they call it? Leading by example.
Mhm, mhm.
Oh, he's a great leader. He leads by example. I don't know, just make him, what he's doing, made it come real natural to that guy. Just make him real natural, that guy. He's not doing anything different that he would do if there was one person there or 100 people there. And so that person can be, people will look at him as a leader, but it could just be selfish. Like he's just doing, like, think of a baseball player, right? Someone that's just going to work on his craft tirelessly, you know, and the results happen on the field.
Mhm.
But he can give a shit if you're going to pick it up. He's not going to, he might not help you out with anything. But he's a great example of what to do. He's having success. People say, oh, he's a great leader. Leads by, he's quiet, but he leads by example. Yeah. I don't know. It's just, I think leadership takes action, and I think leadership is a choice. It doesn't happen by,
Yes.
accident.
No, but I can say that once you start to get in it and you start to see the positive impact you're making on people's lives, it's it's just so rewarding. And that's why I continue to do what I do. And I continue to live the way I live. Because my purpose here is to help others become the best versions of themselves and to find their purpose, to find their goals, to just continue to live life to their fullest. That is my purpose here, to help others.
Great. It's good that you know that. It's good that you know that you have a purpose.
Yeah, it's but how I actually came across it was again, I talked about it all starts with self-discovery. It all starts with the introspective work. And I was actually, I don't know how many, I don't know, maybe about a year or so ago, I was in like one of those float tank things, right? Those little meditatives. I was in for like 90 minutes and poof, I just had this epiphany. I'm like, it just came to me. I'm like, this, I'm good at it. I can help others. And you want to know what? I could probably get paid for doing this too from a coaching perspective, right? So I just put it all together, I'm just like, this is the perfect thing. It's rewarding. It's something I'm good at, and why not? It makes me feel good, and to see other people succeed is so rewarding.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's why we're having this conversation here tonight on, as part of the integrated man. That's what I share a similar purpose. Um, I discovered mine back when I was working with Carolyn Mace almost 20 years ago through learning the archetypes. Part of it was self discovery,
Mhm.
finding your divine purpose.
Yeah.
So that's where I was going before with, purpose. As men, we can substitute divine purpose with purposeful, being continually purposeful,
Mhm.
or purposeful. But those purposes, those actions may or may not be aligned with your true divine purpose. And I find that as what we were put on the earth to do. Um, Whatever your belief is, like what is my purpose? I think we each have our own unique purpose. Um, I discovered back there, or I crafted back there, was my purpose is to be an agent of transformation through a high level of consciousness. And when I first said it, my asshole puckered a little bit because I was like, oh shit, if that's what I need to live into, I have some work to do. I have some work to do. There was great responsibility in
Mhm. Mhm.
choosing that purpose. Um, but that purpose has been an anchor for me through a lot of rough times. Through a lot of rough times, like I know I have that purpose, and I've said this before, and I'll continue to say it. I believe that the thing that is the thing that is behind the epidemic of middle-aged male suicide.
Mm.
Right? That's it. Turn this any which way but loose. Um, the progression I said after college, what are you going to do? You start doing it. I'm trying to do it. This is best case scenario. You get successful at some career. You marry the woman. You have the kids. You do that, like Justin was saying. Um, provide for the family. Go out there and be that provider. And then, so you make working two jobs, making overtime, or just being away from the family. The wife then learns how to do without you. The kids, they grow up. They're more self-sufficient. They really don't need us after a certain time, except for money. Right? After the age of 10,
Mhm.
they can live on their own. Right? They just need money and resources. And maybe the job is now faded. The shine is off the penny of the job. And I'm like, what what am I here for?
Mm.
Who am I? Who am I? My wife kind of loves me. She says she does, but like there's nothing there anymore. My kids just want money. No, my boss sucks. My job sucks. They're trying to drive me out, or I can't get that promotion, or I'm more overworked, or whatever it is. And there's no anchor. And I think that if a couple of pieces fall out, you get divorced, downsized,
Mhm.
to live for. What's to live?
But every one of those experiences that you're mentioning has a lesson in it.
Yes, but despair can happen. I believe that's how important purpose is. Because
Yeah.
I've been in that place of despair, but I know my purpose, and that's always been an anchor for me. Like I'll get through this because I got a fucking purpose. It's pretty important. It's
Mhm.
my responsibility to live into that purpose. Try to live into that. Continually try to live into that purpose. Um, so, hey, Ray Anderson, thanks for checking in, brother. Um, So yeah, if you don't know your purpose, man, please know that you have a purpose. Now, please know you have a purpose because it's really important. And um, yeah, you do the work. You try to do the work, like Lorenzo was saying, the self exploration. Ask yourself the question every night before you go to sleep. With a pen in your hand, what's my purpose? You see
Mhm.
what you write.
Yeah,
You may spin gold one day.
100%, Frank. Journaling absolutely helps. And again, know that you may not know it, but if you're in a leadership position now and you have staff that look up to you for your leadership, you're playing an important role in their lives right now, right? And your actions can make a huge impact on their lives, and that could be a purpose as well.
Let's expand, like not just the leadership position, being a leader.
Anyone?
If you have a family, if you're out there, you have a
Mhm.
family, you're a leader in that family. Group of friends, if you're single, you have a group of friends, or you have your own family,
Mhm.
big in your family, right? Your collective family. You might not be the leader, you might be the matriarch or the patriarch, but you're still able to lead, right? Every group, every leader needs leaders. We were talking about this with Estevez last week, where every leader needs leaders inside his group, inside his team. Um, so never miss the opportunity to be a better leader and see, okay, how am I being a leader? Now, it doesn't mean you have to lead. It means when the leader gives you a task, you have a task that you have to do for agreements, do your best.
Mhm. That's all you can ask.
Do your best. Don't say, I got this shitty job. I got this shitty task. I didn't want to do this. I wanted to do that. And then
Mhm.
not do your best. Just do mediocre work. Like some people want to do that, or they can be a leader. No one's looking and do their best. So there's a lot of ways to be a leader, rather than being the leader. Uh, in family, that's another thing. So we're 9:03. I just want to be cognizant of the time. Um, you got to get to your class, right?
Um, I might have to get to my class. We'll see if I can even they'll even let me in at this point.
I got you. I got you.
See, continuing to grow, still learning.
That's always. Just reading some of the comments. Anything else that you wanted to bring up that we didn't get to?
Um, Nothing really. I mean, I appreciate the opportunity to sit here and have a conversation with you, Frank, and being able to be on the integrated man here. The Any conversation I have with you always goes into a deep conversation. I definitely appreciate it, and having conversations with you is medicine for me as well. So appreciate that. Um, yeah, no, leadership as a whole, whether it's personal, whether it's professional, it's just truly living with integrity, tapping in to your emotional intelligence, and honestly, a lot of the stuff also really stems to just that self-discovery work, right? What I can share with you as well personally on my end is, 15 some years ago, right? Even when I was a leadership position, I wasn't the best version of me because I was not okay, right? And there were things that I did not know that I wasn't okay. And it took time, right? Whether it be through other shadow work that's out there, whether it be through triggers that I have, whether it be through prior traumas that I may have had as well, that actually showed up in my professional life as well. So being able to do the work on myself, being able to acknowledge and have awareness of what my traumas are, what my triggers are, what my faults are, right? And starting to work on myself to be the best version of me. That's how I was able to show up for the folks that depend on me now because I did the work on me.
Got it. Yeah, that kind of, believe it or not, that brings was back to kind of where we started. And I wrote down two things that I kind of wanted to get back to.
Yeah.
The things I have written down: decision making and fear. I was going to tie those two in and use the other segue, right? If I haven't done the work on myself, perspective work, then when I'm in the place of having to make a decision, I'm going to deal with the fear of getting it wrong. And do I know how to walk through that fear? Am I friends enough with it in myself, right? To be okay with that fear, just to be with that fear, to kind of walk through that decision process before I make the decision, and not have it be a decision made out of fear.
Correct.
Right?
I think you hit it right on, right? It's the
don't know yourself enough. If you don't know yourself enough, this is where we give into the fear. Make a fearful decision. Make a safe decision. Right? You see a lot of that in corporate America, right? A lot of safe decisions.
Yep.
Don't want to make the wrong decision because they may get fired, or it could impact them. And I think we do the same thing in our lives. I know, men do. We all do. All right. So just to tie it back into that self-discovery and everything, to know that fear is present, to walk through it, to be able to make a good decision. I think that's very important.
Yeah, spot on, Frank. And the thing to acknowledge is you may not know it's there, right? Because it's sitting within someone's subconscious, right? They may not know why they're reacting a certain way. They may not know, they maybe don't know that they're putting a label on it, that it is fear.
Right.
Sometimes they don't know that, right? But being able to sit with yourself and really explore more and be vulnerable and honest with yourself, right? On that exploration, on that introspective work, creates that awareness, right? Because again, it's your brain, it's neurological, it's fight, flight, or freeze, right? Oh, that's something different. I don't know about that. That's unfamiliar. I'm going to stay here. But what happens if you actually break through that? There's going to be something amazing on the other side. But the awareness around that it's there, that fear is there, is the work that individuals that want to continue to grow should be doing.
Yeah. Fear is for all the men out there, whether you're a leader or not, whether you consider yourself a leader or not. Fear is a subject you should explore. I've done a lot of exploration with it.
Yeah.
To me, fear is nothing more than it's the way I describe it. Talk about it a lot. Talk about it a lot the weekend I do. Fear is simply a physiological response to a real or perceived threat. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
What I can leave you with, Frank, is another book recommendation on fear for men. I thought it was super powerful. I thought it was an amazing book. It's a book by James Hollis. It's called Under Saturn's Shadow: The Wounding and Healing of Men. And the entire book is really around discussing the challenges people have through their journey. And it encourages the readers to face their fears, to face their limitations and any societal expectations. Under Saturn's Shadow, absolutely amazing book. Highly recommended for men that really want to do that work.
Put it in the chat box here.
That's James Hollis, Hollis.
Saturn's Shadow. By who?
James Hollis, Hollis.
Hollis.
Yeah, again, I've read many books as I continue to educate myself, between Eckhart Tolle, Michael Singer. I mean, just all these amazing authors. This one was really, really good. It really was. It just got in there. Like it just hit home. And I really feel like it'll resonate with a lot of men as well.
Does it have to do with rules and order?
Doesn't have to do with rules and order, no.
Okay, just so when I saw Saturn,
Mm.
from a
So again, another short book. Short book, very meaningful, very, very, very powerful.
all right, brother.
Awesome.
I'll
This
let
was
you go.
amazing.
Have a great day. Have a great night. Thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely.
Getting on here and being with us and sharing with your experience and wisdom, even though you don't have the gray hairs yet.
They're in there somewhere.
So you look good, Salt and Pepper, when they finally come.
I appreciate the time.
The guys, the beard goes white first and the hair stays black, then you have to shave off that beard.
My wife's waiting for the salt and pepper. She's excited about it.
All right, brother. Thank you again for coming on. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a good one. Bye-bye.